We're getting a live-action My Little Pony movie. Let's talk about it. Let's speculate.
Video is not intended for children under the age of 13 years old. The comment section has been turned off. It's because YouTube did it, not me. I am an adult, not a child.
So hello and welcome back. It is me, Daisy Spines, here to discuss the rumored live-action My Little Pony movie that we will be receiving that is being supposedly made by Amazon MGM Studios. The only thing I'm on the fence about is I know Hasbro's history, and the first possibility is we may never see this. This is currently basically in the announcement stage. We do not have a director, a cast, a crew, a plot, a premise, or any confirmation of what this is about to begin with. This movie could be about any generation, about any character, anything. This could be brand new, and let's get into some possibilities about what this could be. I'm gonna go into what I think is the least likely to most likely. Least likely. We're getting a fully original idea for a movie that doesn't springboard off of previously existing media and actually attempts to tell its own story. I don't believe this would happen. No offense to anyone who does like this idea, but Hasbro wouldn't be that original, and I know it, you know it, we all know it. Hasbro is moving in a direction where original things aren't really what they're doing in reboots, revivals, soft reboots, and continuations. That's a lot. But let's move into our second possibility, which seems more possible in my opinion. A live-action Equestria Girls. This would just be Equestria Girls, but live-action. In all realness, this stands the best chance of actually translating well to screen, because I think Equestria Girls might do well in the modern era as a live-action movie. Do I love the idea? Not really, but the Equestria Girls movies were never quite as good as the other content from My Little Pony. So it's not exactly like they have the same standard to live up to as the early seasons of MLP FIM for most people. You know what I mean? Could I see it? But would they actually do it? Probably not, because they never even gave us an end movie. When I say I still want my end to Equestria Girls, I do. And you know what? If they announced a live-action movie that was about them graduating high school and going to college for the Equestria Girls, and at least completing their story, I'd take it if it's an end, because we didn't get a real end. They just stopped making content and left us out to dry with nothing. So I guess our next possibility is a biopic about the creation of the My Little Pony franchise, or a specific show. And you're thinking, wait, that's a live-action movie? Yes, it's in a similar vein to the Tetris movie that was announced, which is gonna be a biopic. Which just is it's really boring biopics most of the time, but exploring the early history of the brand, or just the history of a specific generation, could be quite interesting after all. The original creator of the toys is a very fascinating woman on her own, so why not have that be the case? But I don't think they'll do a biopic, in all realness. The next option is it will directly take inspiration off of a singular generation. This is less likely to me, and I'll get into it in the next one, but I don't see any specific generation of My Little Pony being adapted. Let's just say, for instance, the Generation 1 movie gets adapted into a shot-for-shot remake, like the How to Train Your Dragon live-action. That movie could work. There are several human characters in Gen 1, and I think it could blend better. But I don't see other generations, like Gen 4 and 5's movies, and a lot of their media doesn't have any humans that interact with horses. So I don't see it working too good, in all realness. And the option that I still believe is the most possible of all of these. We are getting a Barbie movie style movie. The one that has existentialism and combines every facet of every generation of Barbie into a celebration of the brand's history. And this ties into the fact that Ponyverse is becoming a very real thing. I do believe that if they do this, Hasbro will leave off Gen 2, 3.5, 1.5, 4.5, and Equestria Girls, unfortunately, because those aren't popular, and in Asia, I believe they're starting up stage shows that are called My Little Pony. their My Little Pony Ponyverse stayed so's that encapsulate. Oh, probably also going to leave off Gen 3 that encapsulate Gen 1, 4, and 5. That's it. So I could see it just focusing on those three specifically, because those have the most global impact of the other generations. Gen 2 is really more a European thing than anything else. Gen 3 I felt was pretty popular across the board, but it's largely been ignored in the modern era and I think overhated. I really think that we could have a movie like that from the My Little Pony franchise and maybe make it work. Maybe it's like a person who owns a lot of the toys and they come together and it's kind of like the Barbie movie or even the Lego movie to some extent, where it's basically someone playing, which is the plot of the Lego movie, if you know what I'm talking about. But we'll see if it comes out. But I have to circle back to this. We have no guarantees with Hasbro. Hasbro has a very flaky history. They've been developing certain movies for other areas of their franchise for years. They have claimed to be developing a Monopoly movie for like 18 years, and it has not made it to screen. It doesn't even seem to have anything going. It's just been stuck at the starting gate. And that could very well happen here. They made so many false promises about Generation 5. They promised 2 full seasons that would be split up into chapters of their CGI show. They promised lots of Tell Your Tale episodes that never happened. And we, as the fandom, are disappointed. Even if Generation 5 wasn't the most well received, they still didn't hold up their end of the deal. They said they were going to do something and then walked it back in a blatant show of disrespect for people's trust in them as a brand. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see that Hasbro cancels this live action movie before we even get a single person casted or hired directly for the production. But if it does come out, I'll probably not financially support it anyway, because I pedantically refuse to financially support live action remakes of animated franchises. Live action itself needs to be held up to a higher standard. I want my live action movies to be their own separate unique concepts that are made to be live action too. It's a bit morally corrupt that almost every live action movie that's performing well is based off of a previously existing franchise. What happened to original storytelling in this medium? It's just a sad state that Hollywood's in, and everything is just becoming so morally bankrupt and corrupt about it. But in saying all that, I know it's a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There's a lot that's happening and I had to contain my thoughts because it's hard to explain, but I actually had nightmares about there being a live action My Little Pony movie as a child after I saw a particularly bad live action remake of another franchise that I liked, and I feared that that would happen. And this is also me extending an olive branch out to you Transformers fans. How do you cope with terrible live action movies? I would love some advice on how to maybe get through it and not have it impact your enjoyment of other areas of the franchise or become bitter about it. There has to be some better way to deal with the emotions we have around something that holds nostalgia being weaponized against us by brands. So give me your advice. This has been Daisy Spines, talking way too much about something, signing out. Bye!